Jeremy Geyer, who was an Indigenous reporter in the press gallery in Canberra, went over to see Julian and gave him a passport, an Aboriginal passport. But Jeremy rang me up and said, "Oh, John, I'm changing my name to Muramu." And I said, "Okay, I'll write that down." He said, "I'm going back to my land to speak, to listen to the land and what it's got to say to me." He lives up there on the Gulf of Carpentaria. I said, "Oh, that's okay for you, Muramu. But what about us? What about us?" And he replied to me that the land will speak to anybody willing to listen. And so it is with Julian, that he is one of us. He grew out of this soil. He grew out of this society. We create each other in this society. So Julian Assange is a child of ours, as well as, of course, his mum and dad. A child of ours. And they intend, this government, now, I can't accuse this government because there's been Labor and Liberal and there's been 3 ministers of Foreign Affairs and the attitude hasn't changed. So it's institutional within the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. The persecution of Julian is okay with them. It's okay that every single law has been broken in the pursuit of Julian. Every single one. You know, they dragged him out of the embassy. He was an asylee. He falls under the conventions of asylum. There's a process for removing asylum which wasn't gone through. Now, in 1973, in 1958, the Conventions of Asylum were proposed. In 1973, this community, Australia, took the Conventions of Asylum to the United Nations General Assembly and they were passed. That's one of our powers. There's now 24 parliamentarians forming the Assange group in Parliament. They listen to us. The phenomenon of 24 parliamentarians out of the total is a phenomenon of our strength rising up and causing the parliamentarians to take notice, to bring our concerns into the sovereign majesty of Parliament, and Parliament to instruct the executive to obey Parliament's concerns, for they have percolated up from the people, from us. That's our power. So 2 things I'd like just to keep in mind. That Julian is a child of us, of this soil here, and has the attributes that this soil gave to him. The same way we can hear the land speaking through Julian as Muramu listens to his land speaking to him. So I bring the Indigenous Australians' wisdom, our wisdom, there in the person of Julian. That's one. And the second is very important. It's our concerns that motivate the concerned parliamentarians to take into the sovereign majesty of Parliament, to debate in Parliament and instruct the executive to obey their will, which is our will, in representative government.
Hear, hear.